anything in your email, your assignment? Yes, very good. No, that's a good thing. All right. Basically, your assignment. Can you see my website now? Hello. So I am sharing right now my website where you can download the materials. I uploaded the current textbook that we are actually using in the class. No. So everything can be found here. You type ifeet.org, click a resource, click psychology. So here, the drop-down menu, here are your clinical your materials, now including the textbook. You click psychology, and you will this will appear. Okay, you go here. You have the textbook. I revised this already. Last time I was only sending 2011. The textbook that I sent you right now is an ebook that's for free. It can be downloaded here. All you have to do is to click the picture, then you can download the teaching materials. Now, for the course syllabus, for BSN 7203, you download here. Okay, just click here. You will download the syllabus, or you can download the syllabus. Now, for your lectures also, I only selected few lectures, so you can download everything here. Okay.
Excuse
So
me,
what is
doctor.
psychology? Yes.
Doctor, we can't see the screen.
You cannot see.
No.
I'm sharing it already. Anyway, I'll share again. Ah, I was asking a while ago. Now, do you see?
No, not yet.
No, doctor, we only see your face.
You can see my screen now?
No.
No.
Yes, no.
Now, yes, now we can see.
Okay. So you type. I sent this all the materials also in the university LMS. Okay. You can access also in the LMS all the materials that we have. All right. Since I have my own website also, you can access that in my own website easily. Type ifeet.org. That's my website. You go to e-resource. Okay. In your e-resource, click psychology. In psychology, you are here. You click the right. Click psychology. Okay. You can find it will you can find here this one, no? So this is your textbook, Introduction to Psychology. So I give you the current one, 2016 edition. That's the new one, no? Before it was only 9th edition. Right now it's 11th edition. This is more current. You can read this, no? So all you have to do is to click the cover, and it will download the PDF copy. It's 100 MB, no? So you can download that anywhere. You can use your iPad, iPhone, or computer. The course syllabus, you can download it here, right? And all the materials that we have been taking the class, and the future materials, you can also download. Click, no? I suggest you create one folder so that you can actually follow through. You can download all the materials that I provide you. Just in case, I will add some more. Maybe your other readings, I will include it here, and I will let you know. I'll inform you. Then for your assignment, click psychology. In the drop-down menu, all you have to do is to click your assignment number 1. Click assignment number 1, and it will lead you to instructions. Okay. These are the instructions. The deadline is on December 10, 3 months from now. Now, the whole copy of the assignment can be downloaded here, no? Assignment. All you have to do is to click, and you can download the whole instructions. It's around 14, 15 pages, no instructions, including the articles and the examples. Everything is self-explanatory, okay? Also, I give you the link. That's the reason why it's easier for you. All you have to do is to click the link and it will lead you to this, okay? Any questions so far? Now, in terms of submission, I do not want a hard copy. I would like you to submit here. This is my email address, okay? This one is actually moving to my database. I would not ask you to use this. You just email it so that it will become official. No, use my email address so that you have also record that you submitted your assignment. Okay. So everything. Well, let's make it official. Everything must be official, including your submission, so that you can, if just in case there will be a problem along the way, you can always claim that I submitted my assignment. Look at this. You can show your submission. Okay. So that's what we have in your materials and your assignment. Is there any question so far? No question?
No question.
Oh, very good. So just in case you have some questions along the way while going over the assignment, you can always call me, no? I can always answer you provided I have no class. All right. So that's a good thing. Now let's move. Let's proceed to our class. Okay. Can you see the slide now? Okay. So to recap our previous lesson, good morning. To recap our previous lesson, we have to look into the different periods of development. No, this is the area that we are going to study in terms of human development, the psychological aspect of development, emotional aspect of development, and the biological aspect of development, including the motor development. Okay, these are all very important when we look at different psychology that cover all these periods of development. I initially started discussing with you prenatal period. Okay, this is in the form of biological development. In the prenatal period, this is a period where the child actually stays in the mother's womb. That is below delivery, before delivery. So we are going to start only the counting after delivery. That's the reason why I say it's up to birth. That means to say 0. 9 months of conception to 0. All right. You know what happens here. When the egg cell fertilizes the no, when the sperm cell fertilizes the egg cell, you come out with morolite. There will be implantation. Then after that, there will be growth. You develop a zygote. Then after that, you are going to deliver the baby. It becomes a baby. No. So inside the mother's womb, a baby is not yet a baby. It's called a fetus. Right. So that's what's happening in prenatal development now. This takes place in 9 months or 36 weeks, 36 to average of 36 to 40 weeks. Then after that period of infancy, the development of the child from 0, that means to say from birth, up to 24 months. Now, as I mentioned to you, there is a discrepancy between the period of development because there are children who develop early and there are children who develop late. So there is a range. More or less, the range would be around half year, that is 6 months. Here we have early development, 18 months, late development, 24 months. You know what's happened here, no? There is extreme dependence upon adults. Many psychological activities are just beginning. Language, symbolic thoughts, sensory motor coordination, and social learning. I explained this to you last meeting, so there's no need to explain that not unless you have a question. Then early childhood, this is immediately a period following infancy. It may start, as I told you last time, it could start from 18 months or 24 months. It depends. No, that will last up to 5 or 6 years, right? This is the time. This is the period where the child tries to learn basic things. No, they identify letters. This is what we call as preschool years. No, the children learn to become more self-sufficient. They try to develop the reading skills. They care for themselves. You know, the toilet training happens also here. No, then they follow simple instructions. Sometimes we abuse them. We abuse children here because we actually use them as our servants or maids. Something like we ask them if we have brothers or sisters, baby brothers or sisters, we ask them to do anything for us. Like for instance, we ask them to bring water, we ask them to bring remote control, bring this and bring that, massage me, massage, you know. So things like that, right? They identify letters, and they spend many hours to play in playing with their age group, with the peers. No, so if you allow them to play outside, chances are most of the time they don't stay inside all the time. They would always be with their peers. Okay, moving forward, now the area of the period of development from let's say 6 years to 11 years of age. We call this as elementary school years. Okay, they develop the fundamental skills of reading, writing, and arithmetic. All right. The center, the thing that will influence them the more would be their teachers, not the parents. Before it was the parents, now it would be somebody else, not the teacher. Okay. Then adolescence, this is where you belong. A period from 11 years or 12 years up to the early adulthood, no? So most of the time, it actually ranges from 18 to 19. This is the time when you call yourselves as teenagers. I think I did. I stopped before. No, here I'm going to start. No, adolescence. Why do you think? Very fundamental thing. I would like to ask you this question. Why do you think that if you are in the period of adolescence, you call yourselves as teenagers? No, what is the period of teenage? Women or men? No, when do you actually call that a person is a teenager? Anybody? Any guess? A very fundamental question, a very basic question, no? Why is it that we call adolescents as teenagers?
I think because their ages are normally from 13 to 19.
Okay. Yeah, you got it right. 13 to 19, no? So if you belong to that, why is it that 12 does not classify you or qualify you to become a teenager? Yeah. You see, very basic, no? The age starts with, ends with 10, 13, and 12 does not start with 10. So that age group, that's the reason why when you belong to 13 to 19, you belong to this stage now, and it will qualify you to become adolescent, no? It's very strange because this is a period where normally so many things happen. So many things happen, so many things transpire. There is also a dramatic gain in height and weight. No, I believe you belong to this, right? Majority of you belong to this, or there are students who belong to early adulthood. That is from 21 or 20 to 21, or you belong to this. I think the average student that we have in the class would be around 18, 19, right? Is it?
Yes,
All right. Okay.
most of us.
So most of you belong to this. So you could actually relate. This is a very interesting age group period of development, no? So many psychological problems, emotional problems. We can actually find this. I will discuss you more about that as we go on when we are going to tackle a specific psychologists who describe adolescence, no? But biologically, if you're going to look at yourselves, no, there is dramatic increase in your height. You all of a sudden become a tall guy, a tall person. Your weight could be doubled on this age, no? There is a change in your body contour. All of a sudden, you're wearing something, no? There is also the development of your sexual characteristics, secondary as such, no? All right, for male, there is the appearance of Adam's apple, no? And during this time also, you have the first menstruation, no? And then there is there is enlargement of breasts, development of, you know what I mean, facial hair, and there is the deepening of voice, no? So normally, all of a sudden, you are transformed from becoming a child to not like a child or not so adult, no? You're just actually becoming exploring. There is sudden development physiologically and biologically. And sometimes if you're not aware about what's going on, you tend to be very confused. Moving forward, no, early adulthood, no, the developmental period beginning in the late teens, that is actually from 19 or 20, lasting to 30s, no. This is the time of establishing the personal and economic independence. Right now, in adolescence, you don't care about your career. You care about yourselves. You care about your freedom. You care about your beauty. You care about everything personal. You see? In early adulthood, you think about your responsibility already. You're trying to start your family, maybe. You're trying to start your career, and you would like to be promoted as fast as you can. And during this time also, you are going to select your mate, a husband or a wife. And you will start to learn to live with someone in intimate way. In Western culture, I'm very sorry, but you are not allowed in your culture, no, to have this engagement or in a relationship. Engagement here is different already in our area, no, in our country. In the Western country, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, where everything is actually viewed to be liberal, they allow dating, no? So they try to have somebody very intimate with them, not they live with them intimately, no? And then this is a marrying age, so you start your family, and if you're lucky, you start to have your children, you rear your children. So this is a period where your responsibility is immense. You will become a family woman. All of a sudden, you're transformed from a carefree youth to a very responsible man or a responsible woman. Then you will go up, then eventually down. On the next stage, after early adulthood, middle adulthood, there is a plateau. Everything is plateauing in this case. Now, you have established your career already. Maybe if you're a nurse now, you have plateaued already in your career. Maybe you have been promoted to chief nurse, director of nursing. No, this is the developmental period beginning at approximately 35 to 45 years of age. So all of a sudden, promotion here, promotion there, something is actually moving in your career. Your career is moving. Okay. All right. Then it extends until 60. Right? This is time of expanding your personal and social involvement and responsibility. Okay, you have to look into how you're going to be very useful in the society. This time you're moving away from your family. You try to look on the other circle, you try to help the society. You have to be responsible to the society. You assist the next generation. You assist other people in the society. No, then you will become more mature individual. You reach out, and you are very satisfied already in your career. You have already peaked in your career. You are not looking for more. So this is, you have to realize this. You plateau on your career. In your early adulthood, you raise a family, then eventually you plateau in your career. Then immediately after this, you go downward spiral. Okay, you realize that in your life. So late adulthood, this is the developmental period beginning in the 60s or 70s and lasting until death. Now, remember the first time I actually introduced this topic to you, I have shown you a picture. This is actually, you go back as if you are an infant. No, if you're going to look at the period of infancy, what happens is that the infant is very dependent from the caregivers. In late adulthood also, you cannot support yourselves anymore. In this period, you will be very dependent. You depend on others, caregiver or family members, no? Because you could not actually act on your own. If you're going to look at the people in the geriatric ward, I believe you have seen them last year. These are the people who could not actually care for their own. You see? So this is the developmental period beginning in the 60s or 70s and lasting until you die. This is a time of adjustment or decreasing strength and health. Your strength is actually decreased, notably. Sometimes you cannot even walk. Sometimes you cannot even speak. Sometimes your memory is very weak, no? And most of the time, you are going to spend your life time reviewing about what happened. What did you do in the society? No? You're in the period of retirement. And you adjust to your new social role. You're becoming a child once more. Imagine that. That's the reason why I keep on telling my son, you see, you enjoy your life now because eventually you're going to become adult like me. And eventually you will not enjoy it. Before you are going to realize it, you are not going to enjoy it. You're very lucky because right now you realize that you are in the period of adolescence. You have to do something for your own. You have to enjoy your life. You have to find who you are. You have to find what you love most. Because eventually, on your next stage of development, no, that stage, so early adulthood, what happens is that your time will be limited already. Before, in your adolescence, there seems to be an unlimited relationship among friends. You could go anywhere you want, provided you have freedom, your parents give you freedom. You could do so many things. You're very powerful as you seem, as you think, no? Then eventually, you narrow down your choices. You're going to raise a family, whether you like it or not. That is on your early adulthood. Then you're going to be sticking in your profession. You try to establish yourself in your profession. You're trying to become a good nurse because you cannot start by becoming a chief nurse immediately. You have to start from the lowest until such time that you are going to establish your work in that particular field. You create your name, then you will be promoted. Then you will go to middle adulthood where everything plateaued. You have raised your family, maybe your children are all adolescents like what you have right now. They are trying to live their own lives also. What happens is that you are left on your own again, then you will seek out the company of others. In that case, the company of organizations, you will be very helpful in the society. You join so many organizations as you may think. It will actually fit you. Then eventually, from plateauing, you go down. That is your late adulthood. From highly dependent to becoming from highly independent to becoming highly dependent, because you cannot live without the assistance of others. You see, that is actually the meaning of late adulthood. All right. In psychology, the late adulthood and adolescence are two very crucial periods of development in humans, because most of the time, those who belong to this age group would actually be confused about the roles that they would assume. See, if we're going to look at the data on suicide, actually, I mentioned to you that last week it was a suicide week, no? So many people were killing themselves because they could not find meaning on what they would do on that particular age group. Imagine you're adolescents, you're trying to find out what really you would like in life. You are still in your second year, no? Till now, you are questioning really if you would like to become a nurse, right? I believe not few of you there are married, no? Only few may be married, but people are really trying to question who and what really they would like in life. The question about life, the question about what they really want to be. You have to try to establish your profession. Now, likewise in late adulthood, because you're finished, you're done. You raise a family, you became useful as a professional, you became useful in the society. Now, finally, you're weak. What happens now? That's why I'm telling always my students, be nice to your grandparents, because these grandparents work hard. These grandparents work hard to raise a family and to be a functioning member in the society. That's the reason why you do not actually cast them aside. You have to help them. Imagine this. If you're going to visit, I believe some of you here have still living grandfather or grandmother. If you're going to a grandfather, what doing all the time? Or maybe a grandmother, they would like to tell you stories of their conquests. No? Stories about their lives, stories about their success, stories about the things that they did when they were younger, right? They were trying to tell this all the time, over and over and over and over and over again. 100 times, 1,000 times, maybe. And sometimes, of course, it would be very easy to listen at first. But human as we are, it would be very difficult to listen the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, repeated stories. We must have to understand that all people, those who belong to late adulthood, are trying to find the meaning of their lives. No, they try to find their integrity. Now, how do they find it? By trying to relive their past, looking into their past. That's why they really love to tell their stories. They would like you to be amazed about their stories that they had when they were younger, when they were like you, when they were still on the peak of their career. So don't dismiss them if they keep on telling you that one. Most probably, the best thing that you could actually do is to bring a popcorn and maybe a coffee or soft drinks. And yeah, you have to be patient and you have to be patient and you have to be loving to all its people, right? Or else, if you're not going to do that, if you're going to dismiss them immediately, then they may question their integrity. They may result into committing suicide or killing themselves. In Western society, a lot of people are killing themselves because of this. No people would care about them anymore simply because they are old people. They have AIDS. They are becoming useless as they think. No? Before they will always be an asset. Now they their liabilities to the society. You have to understand it. I'm going to look into this. I'm going to discuss you more in the context of Freud and other psychologists. What are the essential things that we can actually discover or we can observe from people or with those people who belong to this age group? Okay? Any questions so far on late adulthood? No question? Then we move on physiological development. All right? So the developmental psychologists analyze age-related changes that occur throughout the human cycle now, from conception until death. We have to look into what's going on. See, this is very important because as nurses, we should understand how the body functions. What do you understand when we say physiology? Is physiology different from anatomy? Anybody from your course last year? Or are you still taking anatomy and physiology now? What is the difference between physiology and anatomy?
Anatomy, can I answer?
Yes, yes. Answer Ashwini. Okay.
Okay, so anatomy is all about like structures and the position of something. For example, for in anatomy, first like the body organs. But when we talk about physiology, it's more about the functions and what does each organ do and what does it secrete, what does it help, like how does it organize the body systems, something like that.
Okay. There is exact definition or difference between anatomy and physiology. You are Aya, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm very sorry because I cannot see your names when you are reciting. I just recognize your voice, no? All right. So now, what do you think is the importance of understanding physiological development as nurses? If you're going to imagine the age group, no, of individuals belonging to different stages of human development, is the same physiology would be the same from across the stages of development, let's say from infancy to late adulthood. What do you think?
Doctor, please explain your question more.
All right. What is the difference on the physiology of children and the physiology of old age?
Can I answer?
Yeah, sure. You
When
are no,
yes.
okay. Good. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. The difference between when I was younger and now is that when I was younger, I didn't have like much responsibilities. Uh, I used to think about the world in a different way, not like this. When I grew up, I saw the world in many different ways. I had much responsibilities.
Okay. Good. Very good. Thank you. Anybody who has an idea? What is the difference between the physiology of children and adult or old age?
Can I answer?
Yes, Aya.
So I think in children there is the physiological functions. They could be complete, yes, but they're not well developed as an adult. They're some of the functions they function well. In adulthood, it's more developed. Like it's they're more like in details, and it works. I think it works like better, and it's stronger and well organized.
Very good. Yes. Stronger and well organized. So we try to narrow it down. Let's say, for instance, the function, the working of the digestive system among adults and among children. What do you think? No, you see the nature of the things that we have, the physical attribute that we have, the physiological attribute that we have. Now, if you're going to look on children, definitely the functions of every organ would be very different from the functions of the organ of old people, isn't it? That's the reason why, come to think of it, are children eating the food of adults and the other way around? Can they eat the food of adults? This is actually the meaning. So as nurses, you should understand this. You cannot feed children with the food of old people because they have difficulty most probably absorbing the nature, the nutrients that they could derive from the foods that they are actually going to eat. That's the reason why for children we have to give them baby food. But for old age, we can actually allow them to enjoy their foods, and eventually the food that they are taking in will be converted into smaller portions so that they can actually absorb, contributing to the physiological functioning of their organs. Another very basic example is this, no? The physiological functioning of the brain, the organization of the brain. So we have to look into that, no? So there is definitely a difference between children and old people. So as nurses, we have to look into the difference between the two because we could not actually make the old age physiology as to be the standard physiology when we are going to take care of people belonging to different age group. We have to look into the physiology of a specific age group. We have to understand them in short. Here, the nature-nurture debate has motivated the study of development, that is, individuals' development determined by heredity or environment. No, we have to look into what's actually going on inside the organ of every individual in every age group. The differences is all the things that they can actually do. So that's the importance of understanding physiological development. As nurses, we as psychologists actually need to understand what's actually going on. That's the reason why if you're going to study a tribe, for instance, looking into the development of their culture, looking into the different age group on the people belonging to the culture, it's very important that we have to look into what they ate, what they have, what actually they consume when they were young, and then what they consume when they were adults, right? And we have to compare. We'll actually see, no? Moving forward, we have to look into the principle of variability since we actually indicated the importance of the idea between nature and nurture, the importance of how people, the makeup of people, could actually influence the psychology of an individual or how the environment of people could actually influence their psychological development. We have the principle of variability. This will actually state that development is an orderly process. Of course, we should know that. It is orderly process. Maturation proceeds from feeds and starts rather than in a continuous mode fashion. The rate is actually constant. Every organ that is actually associated with an individual must have a constant development. So you should understand that, no? In our organ system, all the cells, you see the wonder of nature. If you're going to look at the development of the cell of every organ that we have, from single cell, then all of a sudden, as you grow, as the cell multiplies, what happens is that they actually evolve into different organ system. How is that? Because of principle of variability. Every cell actually would develop based on what is inside, what is in the gene, what is in the DNA of that particular cell. So it follows the blueprint. It assumes the blueprint. It assumes the organ that they intend to be. That is the meaning of the principle of variability. Okay? So therefore, the development in that case is constant. No? Now, the principle of independence, different parts and systems of the body develop in largely independent patterns and sequences. Okay? So, once that you have grown up already, organ systems have grown up already, therefore, every individual organ may actually assume the development of each. Like, for instance, the brain, no? And so on. Another one is the principle of differentiation. Differentiation increases with development. Development occurs along the line from its head to its tail, the cephalocaudal and from proximodistal. Now, every single individual has the capacity to develop upward and lateral wise. When you say cephalocaudal, cephalo means from head to toe, from head down. That's the reason why you are actually becoming taller as you grow. Proximodistal, no, from the center of your body going outside. That means to say you're becoming fat, you're becoming bigger. Okay, all right. The principle of integration. Every single organ system in the body would actually work to benefit the individual. Every functioning organ will do its role so that it can actually generate a living organism. Integration increases with development. The motor actions which are awkward at first become coordinated. This is actually taken into context by Jan Kage when he tackled the cognitive aspect of human development, no? Motor development as such. Everything must be integrated. Why? For instance, if you're going to look at a child, why is it that immediately when the child is born, the child cannot walk? Because the muscle and the skeletal systems cannot just work together. It needs to practice. It needs to exercise. It needs to look into its integration. Every movement must be integrated so that you can actually utilize your muscles and at the same time your skeletal system with utmost coordination so that you can actually learn how to walk. Moving forward, right? The principle of predictability. Infants follow a certain pattern of motor development, not motor development, but the age of which one child achieves the such may be different from that of the other. So in short, we should know already when the child actually has fully developed. Like for instance, the size and number of our bones. You think the number of bones in the body would be the same across age group? Can you answer me? In your anatomy class, do you still remember your anatomy class? Do we have the same number of bones comparing the age group belonging to children, maybe infants and adults? How many number of bones do we have anyway? Do you know? Anatomy? Come on, anatomy class. The number of bones that we have among children would be more than the number of bones among adults. Okay? Now, the number of bones would actually be reduced eventually when they assume adulthood because the bones have been purely fused and fully developed. Now, in terms of the principle of limitation, maturation sets the limits on learning. For instance, an infant cannot learn to control movement until his skeleton and his nervous and muscular system are sufficiently mature to permit such learning. We cannot assume, we cannot actually force children to learn how to walk immediately. This is usually the problem that we have when we have already children amidst us. No? We force them to walk. When is the best time that they are going to start learning how to walk? So you should recognize this. A child may be limited in a way. The child cannot speak. An infant cannot speak. We have to wait. I'll give you another very basic example that we know of here. Okay? I'll give you a basic example. This is usually a mistake that we are doing, and at the same time, it costs us a lot of money. You know? Now, you have maybe a baby brother, a baby sister, or a relative who is a baby. We would like to buy gifts. What do we do? Most of the time, we buy letters. we buy colors. We have to give them to the children, to infant, as gifts. You think this infant would appreciate that? Let's say letters. They will not. That's the meaning of limited. They cannot actually read. They cannot read A, B, C, D. They cannot even read numbers. So why are we going to give them? They will mature in time. So that's why we have to know the age group where individual will belong to, so that we will know what they are going, what we are going to do to them. So we have to recognize that. That is the basic idea in the principle of limitation. All right. So look at this. We should know this. These are the stages of development that we know of. The child who crawls cannot walk immediately. We have to recognize that they have to coordinate their muscles before they walk. So definitely when they practice, they would fall once in a while. Or perhaps they could injure themselves once in a while before they could actually walk straight. So we have to recognize that every stage, every step of the way, child must actually follow every stage. That is the meaning of physiological development. We have to look into every specific stage of development that we know of. Principle of limitation. Child cannot walk immediately. Do not force them to walk immediately. Do not force them to read the letter when we know for a fact they are only 10 days old. Do not force them to read letter. Do not force them to read numbers when they are only 6 months. So it's useless to give them a gift like that. Somewhat that gift will be used later, but not on that particular stage of human development, as we know. Okay. Now, after physiological development, let's proceed with understanding physical development. This is almost similar with what we have before. The prenatal development, as I explained to you earlier, but this time it will be more concrete. Before it was general. Now this time this is more concrete. Now this is the period of development from conception to birth. What is the meaning of conception to birth? You see, when fertilization happens, definitely, if you are going to recall what happens to you. Now, a man has a sex cell, no? Okay. And a woman also has one. So they do not actually contain the whole number of chromosomes. That is actually 46. We call every sex cell as haploid because they contain only half the number of the total chromosomes that can be found in the gene, in the genes of an individual cell. No? 23, we call them haploid. Right? Now, when fertilization happens, the egg cell that contains 23 chromosomes to be added with the sperm cell that contains 23 chromosomes combined together, we produce a diploid. We call that as a normal somatic cell, right? Somatic cell. Now, this somatic cell will carry the blueprint that we derive from the mother and the father. So we recall in our previous lesson, a few minutes ago, that every single individual will assume and will develop accordingly based on what is inside the blueprint. Single cell will develop into blastula to morula after implantation. Then after that, they will form a fully developed zygote, then fully developed fetus, right? With full functioning organ system, different organ system. Now, the average pregnancy will last for about 270 to 280 days, or that's equivalent to 40 weeks, okay? Now, at conception, the sperm cell fertilized the egg cell while it was staying at the fallopian tube. You know the fallopian tube, right? Every month, female releases one egg cell waiting to be fertilized. And of course, the release of one egg cell is associated with the preparation of the uterus, right? You recall that in your anatomy and physiology, and I think you will appreciate more about this when you tackle maternal and child nursing. No, fallopian tube is like this, all right, and there is the uterus there. When there is actually maturation of one egg cell coming from your two ovaries, one ovary will release only. You have two ovaries. So every month, maybe left or right, ovary will release or mature egg cell. All right. So from there, once that it will be released, your uterus will actually be prepared also. It will have extra coating, extra tissues with extra blood vessels, right? Due to the action of progesterone and estrogen, the two hormones that we have among women, all right? Now, when fertilization occurs, the uterus will be ready, all right? But when there is no fertilization, the uterus will be scrapped, including your tissues and the blood vessels, leading to, let's say, escape of blood. You term that as menstruation, no? Because there is no fertilization. So fertilization takes place when sperm cell is actually or has caught the egg cell that happens in the fallopian tube. You see, every month you release egg cell to be caught by the fibra or the fallopian tube. So the egg cell will stay there for a while, waiting for the sperm cell. Once the sperm cell happens, they travel downward. It takes time to be implanted on the prepared uterus. So that's actually the meaning. It takes place, no, within a specific time frame, right? Now, the fertilized egg is called a zygote, no? As it travels down the fallopian tube, ready to be implanted in the uterine wall. That's what is happening in the prenatal development, before natal delivery. Then after that, the zygote will grow into a fetus for a period of 40 weeks. Of course, so many things will actually take place there. The development of the eyes, the development of your physiological features, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I'll discuss more about this as we go on. I'll give you 15 minutes break, okay? We'll go on second stage. All right, for now, thank you. We can actually have a break. After 15 minutes, you come back. Okay? Thank you.
Excuse me, doctor.